Hey guys, glad you stopped by. So today, thought we would make some tiramisu. So this is a strawberry tiramisu. And it's based on a conversation I had a while back about how I said, I had made the comment that there was nobody out there that didn't like tiramisu. And lo and behold, there was someone. And they were, I had commented, I wonder if they make a strawberry tiramisu. Well, they did. And that led to, me thinking to myself, why don't we do one? And it's been on the back burner for a minute now with everything else going on, but today's the day. It just sounds refreshing, it sounds amazing, and why not? It really just sounds like it would hit the spot, so to speak. I mean, I know it's wintertime, it's cold, strawberries really aren't the thing. They're not even hardly in season. I actually saw, well, Chris showed me a fuss between two people on Facebook about strawberries not being in season, and so the person couldn't do chocolate covered strawberries for the other person, and we were thinking to ourselves, they're always kind of in season, but in a way they were right. Good strawberries aren't in season. They're still strawberries, but not quite like what you would want for chocolate covered. But anyhow, I'm getting off on a tangent with that. But we're gonna do a strawberry tiramisu, and it is a no bake, so we won't even be heating up the fridge. We will have to do a little bit of cooking because we got to reduce some strawberries, but that's it. That's our biggest time-consuming component. That's not that bad. So I think it's going to be good times. Anyhow, if this is your first video and you're new to my channel, hope you get something out of this video. Maybe check out some of the others. We are rapidly getting near 600 videos, which is insane to me. I never intended to do videos, let alone 600 of them, but they're there, and there's a lot to choose from. Big variety, right? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you're returning or one of our new subscribers. Welcome back and thank you. Hands down. That is awesome. And like I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we got a new gig, so there's one more thing, and that's hype. You can hype videos. That helps get us, really boost us in the algorithm, and helps to grow the community, right? And that's important. It's nice to see. I mean, we have got we got over 4,200 people now, and we all get along. That's the cool part. But I think we can keep growing. I know we can keep growing. We grow a little bit every day, but that helps. The hyping helps. You can comment. I still respond to every single comment that comes through the pike. If I see it, I comment. If you comment, I should take the time to respond. You took the time to make the effort to comment. All I ever ask is you respond in kindness. It's okay to disagree, don't get me wrong. You can tell me that I'm doing it completely wrong. Some people have. And all I ask though is you think before you type. That's the only rule. Other than that, awesome. But I'm gonna give you all your measurements in tablespoons, teaspoons, and cups. I will also give them to you in grams and milliliters. So that way, no matter where you live, where you're at, who you are, you can play along. That being said, why don't we hop on down here to the counter and we're gonna get this tiramisu, the strawberry tiramisu, started. Hold on for me just 1 second. All right, guys, we are down here at the counter. So we are gonna play with the stove, and no more, no less. The only thing you will need outside of a handful of mixing bowls and something to mix them with, is one stock pot or sauce pot. So in this sauce pot, we are gonna take some strawberries. Now I have 1.5 pounds total, and I split those into 3/4 pound each. It was a total of, wait, don't tell me, 680 grams worth of strawberries. You're gonna do 340 in each, and what I did was I thinly sliced half of them, right? So by thinly sliced, I mean thinly sliced, and what we're gonna do is use those as a layer, and then the rest of them I just diced up real good. These are the ones we're gonna use right now. We're gonna cook these and make them into a sauce. So in my 2-quart sauce pot here, I am gonna take my 400 grams of strawberries, 425 grams of strawberries, and we're gonna go ahead and get those in the sauce pot. Now I've got mine warming up already because it's a cast iron, and they take a minute, but you don't have to necessarily do that. But we're gonna cook these down, so we want to give it a head start, and that way we don't have to take forever. To our strawberries, we are gonna add some balsamic vinaigrette, and it's 1 teaspoon, 15 milliliters of balsamic vinaigrette. And not that I've ever made this before, because I haven't, but I do work with balsamic vinaigrettes with salad dressings. And make sure you buy, you don't want to go cheap. Cheap can taste really weird. So you want to get you a good balsamic vinaigrette. Don't have to buy a big bottle. They come in small bottles. That not very often do I preach buy a good anything, because you buy what you can afford, right? But in this case, I would highly recommend a decent one. So I got that in there, and then we are going to add 2 tablespoons, 30 grams worth of granulated sugar. And it's just the plain old white sugar, same stuff you put in your coffee or on your cereal if you buy cereal that's healthy and you don't like healthy. And then we are going to add a 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of kosher salt. So just plain old kosher salt, non-iodized salt, I guess you would say. And we will put that in there, and then we are going to grab something that I can stir this with. Oh, where'd it go? There we are. And we will get this stirred down, and we're gonna, as it heats up, the strawberries are gonna lose liquid, and start to get in here and mix with the balsamic dressing, or the balsamic vinegar. And the sugar is going to turn into a liquid state, and you'll have liquid. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let, once the sugar dissolves, which should take a couple minutes, and we get a liquid, we're going to let the liquid simmer for about 10 minutes to break down these strawberries. Okay, so we are done simmering. We simmered for 10 minutes. Let me grab a towel, that's a little warm. And we've got all our juices going. Our strawberries are softened, so we're going to go ahead and take this off heat. And we are simply going to pour this into a fine mesh strainer. Say that 3 times fast. Like such. And then we are going to smash this into the bowl and get all the juices out of it, but we're not going to get rid of these strawberries. We're going to hold on to them. They're actually going to be a layer in the tiramisu. Okay, so we got that done. There is our juice right there, which it doesn't look like you can see real well, but it's in there, and it's just strawberry juice. And then there's our leftover solids. Like I said, we want to save this. We're going to put them as a layer in the tiramisu, I guess. That's what the ingredient or the directions say at any rate. So to this strawberry juice, we're going to add a 1/2 cup, 120 milliliters of water to it, and we'll just stir this together real quick. And then I'm going to set this in the fridge until we need it. And when I come back, we will go ahead and start making the next layer, essentially. So we've got our cookies, our ladyfinger cookies that are going to go on our sauce. Although I'm not using ladyfingers, I will show you what I'm using here in a second. And we've got our solid layer. So now we just need to make the filling layer. So when I come back, we'll go ahead and get that started. Okay, we got that in the fridge. So now, next thing we need to do is we need 1 of 2 more bowls. And this bowl is going to hold our mascarpone cheese. Now, I always call it mascarpone or mascarpone. Why, I don't know. But it just sounds like a mascarpone. But it's mascarpone. I think that's how it's pronounced. If it's not, somebody let me know. But anyhow, 8 ounces worth, 1 container. We're going to put this in our bowl here. Wow. And then to this, once we get it all out of there, and you want this at room temperature because we're going to mix it. I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon, just 2 grams of vanilla extract. And I'll put that in there, and then I'm just going to take my spatula and we're going to mix this together real quick. And now in our second bowl, we are going to take 60 grams, a 1/2 cup of confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, icing sugar. It really depends on where you live and who you are as to what it's called. I mean, we call it powdered sugar, but I hear more often than not confectioner sugar. But I also know it as icing sugar, so because that's what they call it in the cookie world. But to that, I'm going to add 1 cup, 240 milliliters of heavy whipping cream. I'm just going to pour that in there on top of it, and then I'm going to take my hand mixer here and or my electric mixer, and I'm going to beat these till they are stiff peak. All right, we are at stiff peak, And I know it's stiff. I don't know how well you can see that, but nothing flopped over. I am not real good with doing it with these as far as showing you what stiff peaks are, but that is stiff. Hey, see how they're on the tip, it's still straight up? That's what we're looking for. So go ahead and get this out of the way. Oh, I cannot wait until I finally get the kitchen done over there. Seems like it's always something with my world, but we will get it done. That is on this year's agenda, along with actually it's this winter's agenda. We're gonna we'll have it done over the winter time. We just gotta get through Christmas first, and then after Christmas, when things are hopefully, knock on wood, a little slower all the way around, you know, because pizza is slow after January 1st. The bakery is traditionally slower after January, and things just calm down a little. So we'll be able to focus a little more on this kitchen and some garage stuff. But anyhow, moving on. Enough about my woes. So now we're going to take our whipped topping, and we're going to mix it in with our mascarpone and vanilla, and we're just going to do a little bit at a time. All right, so that way we don't like flatten our whipped topping, but we want to get this initial little bit in here, which is probably going to go flat, but what it'll do is it'll loosen up the mascarpone and the vanilla mix. Okay, so we got that first little bit mixed in. So now I'm just going to go ahead and do this the rest of this in about 2 or 3 parts, probably 2 parts, and then that way we can get that all mixed together and we don't lose our fluffiness. Okay, so we got our filling layer good to go. It was a little hard to see if it was all whipped, all mixed together or not, because it's all white, but it's there. And I might or might not have gotten some on my hands, and it may, or on my finger I should say, and it may or may not just taste amazing. Now, that being said, some people will get on you for, you know, trying things as you go, but you should. You want to know where everything's at in the process, right? That is part of being a good baker, a good cook, a good chef. You are trying every aspect, and when you put a part in, you're trying it. That way you know, does it need more? Do I need more powdered sugar? Do I need some more vanilla in that? Well, I don't know if I don't try it, but anyhow. So the original recipe called for a 9x9 container, or a 22 by 22, well, 22 and a half by 22 and a half centimeter container. I don't have one. They have up and disappeared from my house. I used to own 3. So instead I'm going to use this 7 by 11. It's about the exact same. And then I have got out my juice. I have got out my diced thin strawberries. I have got out my puree. I have got out the cookies. Now, this recipe calls for ladyfingers like most tiramisus. I do not buy ladyfingers because they only sell one kind at my store here in my one-horse town, but they do sell Biscoffs, which are very similar to ladyfingers. They have more of a caramel flavor to them, which I happen to enjoy immensely, but they're almost the same thing. Not quite as thick, but they will do the job. I actually used these in the last one we made, and that's where I grew up on this for them. And you don't have to take out a loan to buy them. The ladyfingers that we sell here in our town are like $12 a package, and well, all right, so they're like $9 a package, but you only get like 10 in a package. Well, this recipe calls for 20 to 30, depending on how many it takes to make your layers. So Biscoffs it is, $5, and I got 60 of them. Each package has I got 64. Each package has 16, and there's 4 packages. So to start our assembly of this, we are going to take, can you see this bowl right here? Yes, you can. All right, we're going to take our bowl that has our strawberry water in it, and we're going to quickly dip these in here and coat them. And what that's going to do is it's going to absorb the strawberries, the strawberry water, so to speak, and soften them up. And this is actually going to form a crust. And when you do this, you want to make sure when you're putting them in your vessel of choice, your 8x8, your 7x11, whatever works for you. You could probably even go as far as a 9x13, but I would almost double your filling. It's going to make a crust. Well, if you leave your ladyfinger or your Biscoff, if that's what you're using, in there too long, it will fall apart, you know, and you don't want that. So we want to go ahead and get this layer on the bottom here, and we want to cover every bit of it we can. Leave nothing behind, even if you have to break apart. Okay, so we've got our layer of cookies down there, and it's really cool to watch because you put them in and they've got this nice shiny wet look, and all of a sudden they look dry. That's where it's soaked up that strawberry juice. So now we'll go ahead and take our whipped topping, you know, with our mascarpone and whip, and we're going to use half of this and do the first layer of it with. Okay, so got our layer of mascarpone on there. Now, if you're using a rubber spatula, you may find it sticking to the rubber spatula, not to the thing. I'm using an offset spatula to actually smooth it out. You can use the back of a spoon if you don't have an offset spatula, but if you're going to do any kind of baking, I highly recommend getting an offset spatula. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our puree, you know, our leftover strawberry solids, and we're just going to put them, we're going to dot them on here, and this will be the only layer we do it with. So you can put as little or as much on as you want on here, and the rest can go in your compost pile. All right, so we are now dotted with our strawberry puree. And so the next layer, and this is like the last layer that we're going to do, is the layer of the strawberry slices. And then after I get these on here, I'm just going to go ahead and wash, rinse, repeat. Yeah, we'll do a layer of the cookies, and then a layer of the rest of the mascarpone filling, and then we'll top it with the rest of the strawberries.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got our layers, our cookies, fillings, strawberries, our dollops in the one layer, and look at that. Doesn't that look just fantastic? So now what we got to do is we're going to take this, I'm going to put a cover over it, and I'm going to stick it in the fridge, and we're going to let it cool overnight. We're going to let it get chill overnight. Now, overnight, in case you're new to my channel, is 6 to 8 hours, preferably 8 hours. So we're going to let it go about 8 hours, maybe a little longer, it's hard to say, but at least 8 hours. And when I come back, we can try some. All right, I'll see you here in just 1 second. All right, guys, so we have been 8-ish hours in the fridge, and I did add some of the cookies onto the top there right before I put it in the fridge, but nothing changed. I mean, really, other than the cookies being added to the top, except for everything's firmed back up. You know, so our cheese and all that has, you know, had a chance to relax, get firm again, and we've had a chance for the cookies to turn into a crust versus just being cookies. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be amazing. But let's go ahead and I'm just going to scoop out some, put it in my handy dandy dish here, and then that way we can try it. All right, so we've got her done now. I don't know how pretty that looks on camera. I mean, it looks messy in person, but I think it's going to taste fantastic. The cookies did their jobs. Yeah, there's what it looks like on the inside, right there. And I think, at least on the inside, it looks great. You can see all the layers. Yeah, your life is good, except for that one strawberry right there that I'm just gonna have to sacrifice, I guess, to the greater good. But that's all right. And you know what? You're crooked. Let me straighten you up real quick. I'm sorry. We're looking at each other all. You'd think after, I've got a newer tripod, and you would think after all this time I would just be able to whip things together, but it took me forever to learn my last tripod. But anyhow, let's give this a shot. Yeah, because everything's doing like it's supposed to. The mascarpone cheese and the whipped topping are nice and firm. The strawberries are being strawberries. The cookies are being a crust. So let's see how she goes. That does my heart good. Oh. That, my friends, incredible. Absolutely incredible. And dangerous. I'll tell you what. I'm glad it wasn't, but I wish it was in my life sooner. I wish it wasn't, because I'm gonna end up weighing 600 pounds and I'm trying to lose weight. That is amazing. You guys have to give this a try. I wonder how many other types of tiramisu there are out there. Because I could do, like, I don't know, I could do those like we do cheesecakes. We've got over 30 cheesecake types on this channel. That could be, that could be amazing. Hands down. Give this a try. Let me know if you do. Or maybe you have an idea that we can try here on the channel also. This was an amazing idea. Thank you. Hands down. I'm glad we had that conversation. Yeah, let me know if you give this a try. You can't go wrong with it. Next week, I really can't wait till Chris tries this. She's gonna love this. Next week, I have no idea. No idea at all. But I guarantee we will have a good time getting into whatever it is we get into. So until then, I love you. I love you very much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. Today may be the day they really need to hear it. And either way it goes, it's going to make both of you smile, both of you feel good. And if you make them some of this strawberry tiramisu, I guarantee they're going to be smiling from ear to ear. And there is enough there. Again, guy walking down the street walking his dog. Family of 3, neighbors, rekindle an old friendship. Either way it goes, this would go really nice with a cup of coffee or whatever your choice beverage is, and it's going to definitely lead to some good conversation. So until we meet again, I love you, and I will see you then. All right, see you later. Bye bye.